Have you ever thought to yourself, should I invest in crypto? Well, if you're close to retirement or already in retirement, that's a big question. By the end of this video, you will gain clarity for your personal retirement plan and have action items to secure your retirement.
To learn more about securing your retirement and all the different elements you need to know, subscribe to our channel and hit the bell to be notified when we post a video every Monday. We have helped hundreds of our clients gain clarity and get on the path to a comfortable and happy retirement. Now it's your turn. Let's dive in.
Welcome to our Retirement in Action. We, on the day's podcast, are going to talk about something that we get asked about. This has probably been our number one question that we've gotten over the last few months, year, is about crypto. Should I invest in crypto? What's your thoughts? And so we're going to really talk about it today, kind of in the context of what we do and what we talk to people about. And that is around this idea of somebody who is close to or already in retirement. That's who our clients are. That's who the people are that are listening to this podcast. So we're going to kind of give it that context, and then we'll talk about our thoughts. So first of all, I think it's important anytime you're looking at investing in anything, whether it be crypto, it could be something like gold, stocks, bonds, property, real estate, whatever it is to say, what is your objective? Now, I will tell you, and many of the folks that we talk to, they say this to us. They say, here's what I want to do. I want to make a decent rate of return and not lose so much money. That's their goal. That's their goal. They say, look, I've worked for 30 years plus to save, to build up a retirement plan, and I do not want to risk this money and put it into a place that I could lose. Well, then comes along something like crypto, and you read a report or you hear about the fact that had you invested $1,000 here in this particular currency of this cryptocurrency, and all of a sudden now somebody's worth $1 million, $2 million from this particular thing. And it's getting a lot of media hype. Is it going to replace the dollar? That's the question. Is this the new thing? Well, at this point, it is all too new to know. And so if your objective is to make a decent rate of return and not lose so much money, then you probably are not going to look at crypto. Now, we're going to talk about some scenarios where you could say, yeah, I'm going to try it a little bit, and that'll be okay. But I think the objective is huge. What is your goal? Don't forget your goal. There's always something that we can read about that you could have invested in looking backwards and say, I could have made tons and tons of money. You could have invested in Amazon right in the beginning whenever nobody thought anybody would buy anything online, and it'd be worth a lot of money right now. But the reality is, looking backwards is not going to help us going forward all the time. And so we have to give it that objective. So again, as you're close to or in retirement, it's important to understand and think about your risk. So Merce, can you take us through how we look at risk and then how that might associate to something like crypto?
Yeah. So if you've been reading any of the headlines on crypto, you should already know that there is a tremendous amount of risk to all the cryptocurrencies, Bitcoin, all the other coins out there. And a lot of it is because it's so new, and it has a lot of momentum on certain days, and then certain days not so much. And then you've got strong backers like Elon Musk one day will say, you can buy a Tesla with crypto or with Bitcoin. And then a couple of days later, he comes out and says, actually, no, you can't do that. And so it's still just so volatile that there is an inherent amount of risk to it. Right now, as we sit, Bitcoin has fallen anywhere in the realm of 30 to 50% in the past few days. And so you got to ask yourself, am I willing to take that? I will tell you, the majority of our clients, we take all of our clients through a risk conversation that says, hey, if this is to happen to your retirement funds, how would that make you feel? And so some of our clients come in at that. My objective is to never be more than 5% down or 7% down, 10, 15, 20. If you're anywhere in that realm, we already know that crypto is way riskier than that. We've seen it here recently where it can fall 30 to 50% in a given couple of days. And so at the end of the day, you got to, like Raiden was saying, have an objective as to what you want your money to do, or maybe certain sections of your money to do, and then be able to assign a certain amount of risk in your head as to how much risk are you willing to take. And maybe it's for a piece of the money that you say, I can handle on maybe 1 or 10% of my assets. Maybe I can handle a little bit more risk. I would say the majority of our clients don't want to deal with it. But it's so relevant right now. It's so out in the media that we decided to talk about it. So another part of, after you've decided, well, am I willing to take the risk? The question is, how much do I do from a perspective of my overall percentage of my money or the overall dollars? We get that question all the time too. How much do I invest in these things if I've decided I'm willing to take that risk of the unknown? And so how do we address that, Radon?
Well, I think that, it's all personalized. I had a client who called the other day and he said, hey, I want to invest in some Bitcoin or in some currency, not Bitcoin, but in one of the cryptos. And I got all nervous and I had anxiety because I know this person's situation. And I thought, man, how much are they going to say they want to do? And anyway, so it ended up that he wanted to do $1,000. Well, that was not a big part of his portfolio. He just wanted to do it. To him, it was kind of like, hey, I want to throw some money in here just to have fun. And so he really looked at it as, hey, if I lose $1,000, I lose $1,000. It's not going to change my retirement plan. Now, another person, and we've not had these calls, but another person might say $100,000 and whatever that represents. So if you say, hey, I've got $1 million, I'm willing to take 10%. But I think whatever you invest in something like crypto, you have to have the mentality that you could lose it all. Obviously, you can make a lot, but are you willing to lose it all? And if you're willing to lose it all, and that's where your brain is at, then yeah, put it in there. And then maybe you have to have an upside. So let's say you put the money in there and it goes up and you get a big return. Do you hold it? And in all honesty, out of this idea that I want more, or do you say, no, I made 50% on my money, I'm going to get it out and walk away, or I'm going to take away the profit and I'm going to let the others sit in there, whatever that is, or I'm going to get my principal back out of it. But in my opinion, and I think we agree on this, is that you should not invest in crypto anything that you're not willing to lose. So if you're willing to lose it, go ahead and invest it. The other thing, though, is that we just always are talking to folks about, because it's such an issue, is, where are you at in the stream of life? And we mean by that, by how close am I to retirement? And that all kind of comes around this idea of, if I'm close to retirement, then am I willing to lose it? And most likely you're not. But I think that is important for you to think through, because the idea is I don't have time to make it back. Now, if you're still working, you might say, great, I'll continue to invest. But what do you think, Merce, when you talk to people, when it comes to this idea of really understanding crypto? Why do you think that's important?
Oh, I think it's very important to be able to understand it. Then maybe if you understand it well enough, in my opinion, I will not invest in anything that I do not understand. Stocks, bonds, ETFs, mutual funds. You don't have to have a great understanding of them, but you kind of know how they work. There's companies that are stocks, and then ETFs have stocks within those setups, and then mutual funds are doing something that they've been doing for hundreds of years. So that is a notion that everyone can kind of understand. You put money in, yes, there is risk, but cryptocurrency, it's really this concept that has been, in all essence, made up, and it has grown in backing because a lot of people are getting on board with this idea of a decentralized currency. And so, but nobody really can explain what is it, how has it been created. There's this whole process of mining the cryptocurrency. And I'll go back to Elon Musk. Elon Musk said, yeah, let's do this. And you can buy Tesla through Bitcoin. But then he went back and he said, after further understanding and evaluating, it actually doesn't line up with Tesla's principles, because there's quite a bit of energy that is used to do this mining. Well, I still really don't understand the mining part of it. So for me, my opinion is, I'm not going to invest in anything I don't fully understand. And also, I'm not going to invest in anything that I don't know what its future is. And we've seen it once again in the headlines. It's all over the place. And it's something that's very easy to talk about right now, and it's getting a lot of attention. That's why we are continuing to see the headlines around it. But ultimately, I mean, people ask the same thing. You should not stop asking the question of how something works. We get the question all the time when it comes to life insurance, or when it comes to an annuity, or when it comes to anything else like a REIT. If you don't understand it, well, then there should be some red flags going up there. Um, so you wouldn't blindly invest into rental property, or you wouldn't blindly invest into an annuity or a life insurance product typically. So I would say take the same mentality with crypto, because there is a huge amount of risk to it currently as we sit. So that's my thoughts on it. Raiden, what about you?
Yeah. So I think, if you haven't gotten the sense already, Merce and I are not investing in crypto. I will say personally, and by far not for our clients. It's not in any portfolio that we have. Will it be in the future? Well, that's just, if everything comes around and we start to understand it and it becomes something that's more stable, then that's a whole different concept. I mean, I just read an article that there is some level of serious talk that the United States government is looking at having an electronic currency weighted and backed by the US government. Well, that could change that. Although we have a philosophy that we use to invest, and that is what is in demand. And our philosophy, our methodology is we want to invest in what is in demand and we understand it. So if you took crypto, for example, it's almost impossible for us to invest in it because it's only in demand for short periods, and then it's off demand for short periods, but it's very drastic in its move. We are looking for how do we grow the money in a stable way and then protect from significant losses. It's almost impossible to protect from significant losses if it's going to occur overnight. Crypto kind of continues to move all night long. You could go to bed and wake up the next day and you go, crypto's down 30%. We do not have in our client base a person who's willing to lose or wants to lose 30 and 40% of their money. So our philosophy is let's invest in what we know. Let's invest in what's going to get us a decent rate of return and not lose so much money. And that's our whole methodology around how we invest. So at the end of this conversation, we'll say right now, Merce and I are not crypto folks. We're not putting money in crypto ourselves personally, nor do we encourage our clients to do so. If you decided to do it, they could do it on their own. Some of our clients have done that. They called us up and said, hey, I want to do this on my own. They actually did it themselves. They bought it themselves. They take the risk themselves, but they usually are doing very small amounts of money. So I hope that's been helpful just to get a little bit of context around this, because I'm sure you're talking about it with your friends and you're reading the news. And so keep that in mind. I will tell you again, if you've not had a chance, visit our website, which is pomwealth.net. Go to the blog page /blog, and you'll see that there are many articles on topics as we've been discussing right now. Also, we have a free masterclass there called 3 Keys to Secure Your Retirement. We hope you have a great day. We'll talk to you next week.
We hope this video has given you some confidence and clarity as you plan for a worry-free life in retirement. But what else do you need? We have created a complimentary video course called 3 Keys to Secure Your Retirement. This video walks you through step by step what you need to do to get ready for retirement. You can also check out our podcast called Secure Your Retirement. You can subscribe below.
For more retirement tips, watch this video. Create your retirement income plan. Also, click here to subscribe to our podcast, Secure Your Retirement. If you like this video, hit the like button and be sure to subscribe and share it with your friends.